Good morning, YouTube. It's Saturday, December 15th. We're just looking out one of my bedroom windows outside. It's been raining this morning, about 10:30. Kind of got a late start for Saturday. And this is going to be another Powerstroke video. Of course, you will see the title by the time it's uploaded, so you know that. But reason we're starting off in my little computer room, I got some goodies in yesterday. LMC truck, you know what that's for. Let me lay my camera down and open up my pocket knife. We'll see if everything came in that I ordered, at least and all the right stuff too. Alright. Love opening a box of packages, especially when it's goodies for your car, truck, hot rod, whatever it is you're working on, tractor, whatever. And we got a whole box of stuffing. I may pause the camera before I get all this crap out. Or can I reach down in here? And here's one of them. I know we ordered an anti-rattle kit, which is all your felt for the door, window felt. Let's see what else we got in here. Sometimes when you order so much crap, you forget what you ordered from who. So. Okay, this is, remember that top trim I cut off the top of my door? That's what that is. Ordered both sides. This is the vent window gasket. It's a little bent right now because it's in the package. Here's the other side. And what else did I order? Something else in there. Here is the other side for that top piece, and that may have been anything. And I also got a lot of free packing. I do sell some stuff on eBay, so. And this, yeah, we got a door handle. Okay, very good. And there's the other side. Hell yeah. Stuff adds up. I forgot what the total was. Let's see if I can open this other box here where I put my knife. It's hard to do one-handed while holding the video camera. I don't have my tripod in here, so I'm not going to go out and get it because we're going out there here soon. I'll show you what we've got done. It probably doesn't look like much that we've gotten done, but there you go. Hey, you know what? Okay, this is, oh, okay, yeah. This is the whole anti-rattle kit. I forgot what all was involved in it. It pretty much gives you everything that goes inside the door. Got your inner and outer felt, both sides, 4 pieces. And should be another one of those in there. This is the actual gasket that goes around the entire door window, and there's another one in here. I always keep my boxes too, because I used to do a lot of selling on eBay. I kind of got away from it. I don't know why, because I did pretty well on it. I parted out a 73 Cougar that I bought as a parts car for a Cougar I ended up selling before I finished. I had a 71 XR7. But yeah, I made money off that parts car. Plus, in the car I was redoing, it was a pretty nice Cougar, but I hit a deer with it. I don't know if I told this story before or not, but bought the parts car to fix it, and someone gave me an offer I couldn't refuse on that 71, and then I made money off the parts car. So that's the whole eBay story there. But yeah, looks like everything's here. I guess later on we'll make sure it fits. Throw them boxes away. I just cleaned this room out not too long ago. It got really cluttered up with boxes and junk and stuff like that. So I'm going to pause the camera. You go ahead outside, and I'm going to show you. I need to take a vacuum cleaner in here, but I'm going to show you what all we're going to do today. Do a little bit of videoing. We're going to Well, I'll tell you when we get out there. Hang on. Alrighty, we're outside. As you see, it's a wet, nasty day. I think I got another package on the way. And there's Angel doesn't like delivery trucks. But yeah, we're on our way back here to show you what we're up to. Okay, I better pause this camera and get my package. Okay, we're back. Let's see if I can finally start this video. It's like my third interruption. Alright. As you can see, it probably doesn't look like I've done much since my last video, but I have been out here. Wet sanded the back of it down. All that behind it's going to be between the bed and the cab. Taped off all my windows that I removed in the last video. Of course, I use plastic, and I want to show you something about that. I'm using the plastic to keep water out of it from the wet sanding I was doing. As you can see, I haven't even cleaned that after I wet sanded it. The part right there on the cab corner rear. But let me say something about using plastic to tape off windows. It's not a good idea when you're doing your final painting and clear coating or whatever type of paint you're going to use, because here's what happens. I've done this before. Use paper, because if you use plastic, what happens is your first couple coats everything goes okay, and on your last few coats, that overspray that is on your plastic from the first few coats, it starts flaking off, and the pressure from your gun will blow it off, little chunks of dried overspray onto your final coat, and that's no good. I learned that the hard way by using plastic, but I will use plastic for when I'm primering and stuff like that. Now, a little bit of change of plan. I'm going to go ahead and remove these doors before I do any primering, which I think it's a good idea to, if you have any body work to do like I did, as you can see on that cab corner and door, it's both sides. If you have any body work like that to do, go ahead and make sure all your doors and fenders line up. If you remember back in the summer, I had the fenders on this, and I align my doors and fenders. The doors never were aligned right. I got them a lot better. They're not perfect, but they're as good as they're going to get. But what I'm trying to say is just make sure everything lines up good before you disassemble it, especially if you're going to paint it disassembled, because once you get it all painted up real nice and you go to put it together and you find out something's wrong, you're going to run a risk of chipping your paint, scratching, or whatever while you're wrestling around with a bunch of doors and fenders that don't line up. I know these line up, so I can take them off with confidence so that I can hopefully put it back together without too many issues with the alignment. But I do want to go ahead and take them off before I do my primering. Of course, after I primer all this, there will be more block sanding to do, but there's no heavy body work. And that's another issue for taking your doors and fenders off. You don't have a good place to set them while you're working on it. It's a lot easier to do your heavy body work, meaning your block sanding with rough sandpaper or air file or whatever you want to use, because it's fixed to a big heavy object and it doesn't move around on you. And you can fix little alignment issues by filling in low spots and stuff like that. But anyway, I want to go ahead and remove these doors today. We'll do a little video on that. See, last night I wet sanded my one door jamb down. Something else I need to do. You can see some weld marks. They look a little rough, but good enough because that doesn't show. But this is from some work I did to the truck about 2 years ago. If you remember, I told you how I did my cab corners and fixed inner panels that were rusted too. I made those cab corners. I ordered off of eBay. They was pretty decent cab corners. But yeah, I had also had some cab mount supports that were starting to rust away, so I ended up removing all this. And of course, it was rusted up in here too. I had to make a few panels, but I ended up removing this so I could get to my cab support and weld all that up. And if you remember my earlier videos when I sandblasted paint underneath, you see how that turned out pretty good. So, but anyway, I did not use the POR15 paint. I'm starting to get some surface rust there. So we need to kind of rough all that up, and we're going to brush some POR15 paint in there where we got this out. The rest of the floor. It's held up pretty good. I used a Rust-Oleum rust reformer on this. I guess it works okay, but as you can see, we're getting some surface rust in there. We want to cover it up before it turns into an issue. But so today we're going to go ahead and remove the doors. I'll do a little video on that, and that way we won't have to worry about, when we primer all this, we won't have to worry about not wanting to get primer. We can go ahead and sand all this stuff down and that, and I will hang the doors off the rafters. I had some hooks that I made a long time ago to hang fenders and doors and paint, and we can just get it all in primer and do each panel all at once instead of, you know, a little bit at a time. Alright, let me mount this camera on a tripod and we'll get to work, do a little door removal. Okay, first thing I'll show you on door removal is, of course, you remove your doors. You know how you open your door and your dome light comes on. Well, if you're going to have them off for a while, but you don't want to unhook the battery for whatever reason, you got to remember to unhook your switch so you don't run your battery down and your dome light burns all day. I did that last night. Here's your switch right here. It's pretty easy to remove. Actually, this one's a little different than most. Most of them kind of fit in there and you got a nut screws on. This one screws into the cab. It's like that. And I guess the better way to do it would be to reach in there and unplug it first, but I could not get my hand in there, and so you got to unscrew it with the wire still attached, which I don't like because you start twisting that harness, but I didn't really see a way around it. I could not get my hand up in there to do that, at least without taking a bunch of stuff off that I don't really want to take off. So I was able to turn it out enough without hurting the harness, and then you just untwist the harness, of course. So when you put it back in, I guess it would be a good idea to twist that harness to the left before you plug it in, however many turns you think is necessary, and then start that in there and screw it in. And now we have some speaker wires to unhook. Alright, I went ahead and removed the speaker. I was going to try to reach in there and remove that plug, but it's one of those famous newer style plugs. Well, this is a 94, but you know what I mean. Kind with a clip that almost always break. I don't think older cars had it. So I went ahead and removed it so I could see where the clip was. And I'm sure there's a special tool for it. Hope you can see this. Yep. Yeah, I guess it was a good idea to remove the speaker anyhow, because we're going to be painting this whole door and it'll be out of the way. Okay, we'll just sit that on the floor. Okay, the next thing you want to be sure of that you've done before you start unbolting the door and removing it, of course the wiring harness goes through this little plastic hose here, rubber hose, whatever you want to call it. And it's not too bad to remove. You can see it's swelled out the end. When you take it in and out, you just got to kind of squeeze it and it'll go in like that. And it's pretty much the same way to get it out. You just squeeze it together and it comes through the hole. Now we got to remove some bolts. Alright, as you can see, I have propped some jack stands with some rubber pads on the bottoms of my doors. Those stands are extended as far as they go, but seem to work out just perfect for the height of this truck. Now we're going to remove some bolts and we'll see how this goes. It'd be a lot easier if I had some help, but guess what? I don't have any help with me today. Hardly ever do. But that's okay. Sometimes I work better alone, really. I'm one of those guys who, I don't know, when someone comes over to help, instead of helping, they kind of take control of the operation. And I don't like that. I like to do things my way. So, unless you need help picking up something really heavy, a lot of times you're better off working alone. At least that's my preference, but to each his own. And by the way, these are 13mm bolts. Just set this right here. And I'm removing the door hinges from the actual door itself and set all these. That way I won't have them. When I go to picking up this door, I'm not sure how heavy it is. I'm sure it's not super light. But that way when I go to wrestling this thing to the floor, and hopefully we won't drop it and dent it, I won't have a bunch of big clumsy hinges flopping around hanging on stuff on me. And as you take them loose, if you notice, there's a little bit of a gap between my jack stands and door, but don't worry about that, because as soon as you take them loose, the weight of the door will lay on the jacks. Okay. Now each hinge is bolted to the door with 2 bolts apiece. So we're on our 4th bolt, so this is when we got to start being a little careful and hang on to our door. We're going to fall off on us when the bolt is taken completely out. Probably should have that camera up a little higher. Can't see my head. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Okay, I think it's out there. Almost. There we go. Now let's see if we can do this without having any accidents. Now we're going to find out how heavy this door is. I'll take these vice grips off of this handle here. Oh, it don't weigh nothing. I bet that thing doesn't even weigh 50 pounds. It's not bad. But, yeah, it's kind of easy. Alright, that's pretty much all there is to removing the door. Not that much to it. You can see the truck is getting further and further apart, but that's okay. A lot of stuff we had off of it, we gotten together and got it running. And this is no big deal, and this just will help us do a better job of painting. See, you can't, when you paint one, you can't get to all this nasty stuff when you leave it all together, and that's what I wanted. That's what I like to see after you paint a vehicle. You open the doors and look inside there and see shiny new paint, just like a brand spanking new one. And sometimes you see stuff in there from brand new cars. So, you know, plus when you buff them, you get buffing compound in there, you can't get it out. If you go ahead and buff everything before you assemble it, you know, you can get in there and wash everything out. Plus, if there's any rust under here, we can do something about that. Alright, we're going to take this other door off and we'll see what else we can do this weekend. I'm probably going to sand the rest of my jambs, hang these doors up. I'll show you how I'm going to do that and the hooks I made. Alright, before I take the other door off, just want to show you real quick when I was talking about hanging my doors to work on them. Of course, this might not be an ideal situation for sanding because you got to hold it still. I need to get me some workhorses and put some padding on them or something. But this is good for when you're painting your body panels off the truck. And there's the hooks I had made a long time ago. They're just made out of 3/4 inch strap steel. I think it's like 1/8 inch thick, maybe a little thicker. I forgot what the exact gauge was, but and that stuff, I used to get it really cheap from where I used to work. Where I work at now, they're not very friendly on stuff like that. They're all about themselves. They don't care about the workers. But if you're going to go out and buy some of this stuff and make yourself some hangers, I'd suggest going to a steel supply place. Don't get it from Lowe's or Home Depot or any hardware store because they kind of rape you on the price. And if you go to a steel supply place, you can get 2 10-foot long sticks of this for pretty cheap. You know, it's higher if you want a certain length cut off, but for something like this, if you buy a couple 10-feet lengths, you can use it for anything, and this stuff isn't that high. Just another little tip, I guess. May like it, may not. Works well for me though. And it looks like, no, I don't see any rust. We'll go ahead and take these hinges off, and I think I'm going to stamp them so I don't get them mixed up, because once you get them off, that would be really easy to do. Hang on. Okay, when I was talking about stamping them, here's what I was talking about. It's just to keep from getting them confused. I guess if you're restoring an actual classic and you wanted it perfectly original or whatever, you might not want to do this, but this is not a classic. And this will help save me some confusion. And I got some number stamps here. I wish I had letter stamps, because I would stamp like a LU here for left upper and LL here for left lower, and of course right U and right lower. But I don't have any, so I'm going to stamp 1 here, and number 2 right here. If you can see what I'm doing, yeah, you can see. And I don't really feel like stamping the cab. I don't want to do that. I don't know why, I just don't want to. So I'm going to write it down. I didn't get a full stamp there. I'm just going to write it down in a little notebook that number 1 is left upper or driver's upper, and number 2 is driver's lower. And that way I won't be bolting the wrong hinges in the wrong place and trying to put my door on, and I'll end up messing up and chip my paint. It's hard enough not to do that anyway. Just another little tip. Alright, we might as well get these hinges off. One thing I've noticed, make sure his camera's, oh yeah, upper hinge pins, not bad, little play. Bottom one's really bad. I knew it was some play because the door had some slop in it. I've already broken my bolts loose, and we use our air ratchet on it, which I rarely use for some reason. Why. I'll buy tools like that to make things go a little quicker for me, but I'm one of those guys that just automatically grab the old style hand tool and use it. These type here are pretty good. You gotta watch them though. If you're working in a tight area and you're tightening it, and once they tighten it, they're real quick about pinching your fingers against something, and it hurts. It doesn't feel good. Alright, you can see it's not too bad. I got some surface rust. If you're wondering what these 2 holes are, I don't know if it will help if you can see it. Actually, I started doing a video on it and I changed my mind. I had this idea. Let's see, there we go. You can turn this camera around. Sorry about the shaking. But I had this idea that I was going to drill and tap these all the way through the hinge and all. And I guess it was a decent idea, and it probably would have worked. But the reason I wanted to drill and tap those, because I already had my doors located in a line, I was hoping to, when I put it back together, just thread a bolt through both the hinge and all when I put it all together, and my doors would still be aligned for me. But there was one trouble with this. This plate back here, it's almost like hardened steel. You can't hardly drill through it. Once I broke through the hinge and this, and I got into this, these things are like heat treated. I did make it through one. I ended up using a carbide drill to, which was almost my tap drill size, and it wasn't going to work out. I think it was more trouble than it was worth. I just kept ruining drills and everything, but that's what them 2 holes there are for. It didn't work. Sometimes when you get bright ideas in our head and it doesn't work the way we want them to. Let's see. Let me lower this camera down here. And we'll get this bottom hinge off. I guess we'll take the other side off. No sense in video taking the other side off. I might show you how that door switch comes out. I didn't show you just wonder how hard that will be to get to. Oh boy, probably have to come from the inside. Now I'll have to fish around there with a magnet, I guess. But yep, that slider plate fell down in there. I guess that will be handy to put on video, is how do you get that thing out of there? Okay, we're going to try to get this adjuster plate out of here. I think I see the trick to getting to it. Behind this is a access hole about yay big. 2 screws right there. Hopefully we can reach in there and take it out. I'm going to try to do this while holding the camera, which makes it harder on me, so I may have to set it down, and you'll have to stare at some part of the firewall or floor while you hear me trying to reach in here and get this thing. Alright, there's that out of the way, and like I said, there's your hole. You should be able to. Oh boy, it's still small, tight fit. Hang on a minute, I don't know what all you can see here, but I'm going to try to get my hand. I'll probably get it stuck. It's way down in there. Let's see if my magnet will reach it. Can't feel it. Let's try pushing this emergency brake pedal out of the way. Ouch. Hits my finger there. I know it's down here somewhere. My hand won't fit. I got pretty small hands. I'm not a big guy. Oh boy, this could be a problem. Might have to leave it down in there and get a new adjuster plate. Sure starting to look that way. There is a rubber plug on the outside, but I think that just goes into, I don't think that goes into this area. No, it doesn't. Wow, this thing, I may have to order or make one, because I'm not seeing it. Okay, I can see it. Look down in that hole. Trick is, I wish I had a flexible magnet. This one will bend and everything, but it's not a spring-loaded flexible one. I know this magnet is reaching that far down. That thing is probably wedged in there, maybe. It's sticking on everything but what I want it to stick to. We do this other one. We're going to take a little precaution here. We're going to go ahead and take this piece. Well, there's nothing to take off on the other side. But yeah, we're gonna grab a hold of that thing. They're supposed to stay where they're at. They can move around, but they got little clips that hold them, keep them from falling. Evidently, this one is not clipped properly. All right, I'm going to shut off the camera for a minute. I wish I could show getting this thing out of here. Well, I didn't get to film it, but I got it, and it took me about an hour, maybe a little bit over. I wasn't watching the clock. As you can see, it took a lot of trial and error. I made a lot of little fishing tools. I ended up getting it out with this. I ended up taping my flashlight up here where I could see. It was just something you couldn't film. To be honest with you, I'm not sure how this thing ended up falling out, because it goes Man, it's so hard to film these tight spots. Yeah, it goes behind that clip and that clip. And actually, I'm trying to put it back in there, and I can't even put it in there without bending the tab out. So, kind of funny how stuff like that is meant to stay in its place can just find its way and fall out, and then when you go to put it back in, you can't get it back in. Makes you wonder how it fell out in the first place, but that's just the it's just a motorhead's luck, I guess. We have a lot of weird stuff happen to us when we work on our cars. A lot of things that don't make sense that cause troubles. But I'm going to fish this thing back in and get this other door in. Just goes to show you, when you think you're going to get a certain amount of stuff done, sometimes it just doesn't go your way and you don't get as much stuff done. Alright, we're on the other side, getting ready to take the door off, but I'm going to go ahead and try to show you how to get this switch out, which I did. I did the other side last night, so I didn't get to show you on film today. I'm going to try to unplug this before I unscrew it this time, so I don't be twisting that harness. I'm going to take my long vice grips. Got to hold that plug, and there we go. We unplugged it without hurting it. That's a better way to do it than what I told you earlier. And now we just unscrew the nut, or break it loose, and the whole switch screws out. Pretty easy. And as you can see, one door's off, the other one's open, no dome light. That's what we want. We don't want to be running that battery down. Okay, let's get this speaker off, unplug the wiring like I did the other one, and get this other door off. Alright, here's something else I didn't get to show you on the other side, was how to get this hose out of here. Just you reach inside through the speaker hole, and you'll feel the lip of that rubber liner, or hose, or whatever you want to call it, and you'll start pushing it out. Don't know how well you can see that, trying to keep my arm out of the way. And that's all there is to that. Now we're ready to unbolt the door, just like I showed you on the other side. Okay, YouTube, we're looking at the passenger side kick panel area. And you remember what happened to me with this lower adjuster plate on the other side? This is what we're going to do to keep that from happening to me again. Hope that helps somebody out. Go make sure that doesn't happen to the top one either. I didn't put any clamps up there. You can't really get to it. As that hinge swivels away, you can get one bolt in there. Powerstroke, just when you think it's going back together, I start taking stuff off it again. That's the way it goes if you want to do it the way that should be done. Alright, another box of small parts. One of many. And there she is. No doors. Ready to do it right. Well, maybe semi-right. Like I said, it's not a complete, total restoration, but we're doing the best we can without completely tearing it down to a bare frame, which that was tempting, but we just, yeah, this truck's been apart way too long, and if things hadn't have gone wrong during this project, yeah, the time we spent on it, all that could have been done. And sometimes stripping them down to nothing is actually easier. It seems like more work when tearing apart, but when you got everything apart and everything out of your way, it really gets easier. Sorry about my pacing across the floor. I'm trying to figure out where I put my other hinges at. I think, oh yeah, I threw them in the box too. Actually, they don't belong in the box. We're going to sandblast those and hopefully remember to hang them and paint them when we do the doors and fenders maybe. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to do the cab, doors, and fenders all at once when I do get everything ready to shoot. One thing I'm seeing after I got those doors off and over there, that four-wheeler's got to come out of here, and I do have a place I can put it that I kind of forgot about. Keep it out of the way. I was very tempted to put it outside and cover it up, but just thought about another place. Right now I got to get my fenders out of there. Actually, what I'm talking about is my 16-foot trailer that you've seen in other videos. I need to clear some stuff out of the way, but it will fit through that side door, pointed sideways with the front of the four-wheeler facing the cabinets. I stored it there one winter, and that way the four-wheeler isn't too awful hard to get out if I want to play in the snow or something like that, if we do get any snow this year. So I tell you what, I was going to make one video for the entire weekend, but I think we got a lot of time on this one already. I think I'm going to go inside and make me something to eat and see what this video, put this video together, see what it looks like. And I may or may not make another video for this weekend. Not sure. I will try to document what I've done. Pretty much all that's left to do for this weekend that I will have time for is wet sanding of the door jambs, finish that of the cab, do what I said I was going to do there with the POR 15 paint, and sand the inside of the doors here. That can keep me busy for the rest of the night and maybe all day tomorrow. Depends on how much I get done. There may be another video this weekend. So thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for my new subscribers, and keep following me. I'm going to try to stay busy on this thing and get something done.